Welcome back to my YouTube channel, guys. Today I'm going to explain basic knowledge of about Spring Boot application like beans, annotations. I will explain whatever as much as I can in this video. So watch completely. You will get some information about Spring Boot applications. Okay. Now I have a basic setup from the spring.io.initializer basic details. So in this project I'm going to explain that one. Okay okay this is the basic. By default is given by the springboard application, spring.io.initializer. So spring boot an application, what is this annotation called? Why we by default why it is containing this one? Okay, this application, this annotation containing combining of three annotations. One for at the rate. I will draw here, guys. So it will I'm explaining as better way to you get to know all the details. Okay. 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 At the rate configuration, that at the rate. Okay, I will take some time. Okay, I will just going to copy that one, so I don't want to type anymore. Spring Boot application. This annotation containing three. One called at the rate configuration, another one annotation called at the rate enable, auto configuration, and another one is at the rate component component scan. Okay, that at the rate spring boot application containing three annotation: configuration, enable, auto configuration, component scan. I will explain each of these annotations. First I'm going to you go with component scan. Why? What is a component scan? So if you want, the component scan is telling that scan all these classes and packages. Only for this package you want to scan to create. For internally spring boot required a bean. Okay, so we by default spring boot project telling that scan this project. So in project the basic package is com.internship.basic details. So it contain it telling that scan this package, only this package. If you want to scan different package, you have to ex explicitly tell that at the rate component scan package name. So in this way, the by default it will telling that scan this package. Okay, and scanning default package. Okay, and at the rate configuration. What is at the rate configuration? If if we create a bean, it reading that, like how can I say that? Um, okay, you going to create a service object, three layers, right? Control layer, service layer, DAO layer, data access layer. So if you are creating a service bean, so by default the application before running the after running a application immediately going to read and taking the bean in Spring container. So it is used to scan beans or objects, same as it is also. It is used to by update version of this one. So in this way, the Spring Boot application containing three annotations. Okay, I hope you guys understood. Okay, what I'm going to say next now, I'm going to okay, the internal work I'm going to explain how it internally works. Okay, how to do it? I'm going to minimize and maximize the sheet and going to 100%. Okay, now I'm going to explaining how internally works of Spring container. There is a box it called Spring container. This is a Spring container. I will write it here. Spring container containers. Spring container. I will large the text size. Okay, it is a Spring container. By default, if you use these annotations, like I will type here @rest controller @component @service @register. If you use this annotation, by default it going to create an object or bean and store at Spring container. Let's see in here it containing the configuration component scan enable auto configuration. Okay, after that you going to create a controller class, right? In different package in here controller. Okay, in this package you are going to create a controller class for any basic Spring Boot application. It containing a controller controller class name is a controller class. To make sure this class is a controller class, we have to use @rest controller. So in this way, if you use the @rest controller, by default it will create a bean. So REST controller component scan object. So in this way, by default it will create a that bean. Okay, it is called, this object is called controller object, controller obj. Okay, controller object. So now you are going to create a service, another package, new package dot service package. In service package you are going to create a service, right? Service class, service class, enter. In this service class you have to use @service annotation only. They given, if they given annotation to use a specific classes. Okay, in diagram I already told that @controller for controller class, service for service classes, and register for DAO classes, and component for general other general classes. So if you create your own class like utility class, so in that class you have to use component. It is a standard way to use annotations. Okay, so in service class I'm going to use service annotation service. Okay, so I define a one method now here, public it return string service method it return I am from service. Okay, so in service class I'm defined a method called service method. So in controller layer I want to call that method service method. So how can you can create an object? There is so many methods to create an object and call that method service class method. There is a one method called, there is one way called field field and another method called setter injection field injection, another called constructor injection, another way called normal way. We can create our own way like new service, like that we can create using new keywords, new keyword. So in this video I'm going to explain all this. Okay, first I'm going to explain new keyword. Using new keyword how to we can create. Okay, using service service class is equal service my service is equal to new service class. Using my reference name my service dot, what happened, my service class. Okay, there's something happening here. So with, okay, I have to give endpoint, right? Okay, request mapping I'm giving to call this class. Must have an endpoint, like I give basic I save it. Okay, my service new service. After creating an object I have to write a method, right, to call that service method. So I'm going to give a method called public my return time is string, method name is, and get call service method and return my service dot service method. So it will return the string. Okay, okay, I'm going to run this. It will run working or not. So in this way I'm going to print that object reference. Okay, so dot my service dot hash code whatever, it will print that address hash code. If you want to print address, just my service, that's enough. I want to print that hash code. Okay, my service. Okay, this is how I'm going to define. I create my own object without using that internal annotations at the rate auto word. And if I want to remove this annotation is better. I can do I can remove, is not a big deal. Okay, I'm going to start this application. Run has maven build clean spring hyphen boot co skip test case to avoid unnecessary time unwanted times. Let me see how it goes. It's taking unusual time. Yeah, okay, finally it running. Okay, finally its application is running. I'm going to postman. That class endpoint is basic. That's that's enough, right? Not phone, not resource. So in body, in draw, I want to select none. So it will cause, I'm not passing an object, right? Okay, sick. I forget to give a endpoint for this method. So at the rate get mapping service. I use service endpoint. I just save. It will restart. Because I use dev dependency. I use here. I go here slash service. Just go hit. See, I am from service. So means without using that annotation in service class, I'm not using a service annotation and I'm creating by myself. So it is a simple basic project. It is and it's better without using an annotation. What if it is a large, is a huge project? It will get confused by Spring project. How many so many if you so many users are using this project, then the time the object creation is huge and storage is get full and your project is get crashed. So in that wise, the Spring developers give an IOC, inversion of control. It means you don't have to create an object, it will managed by the framework itself. It means it's a definition of IOC. So that's why we don't have to create by ourselves. See, and I also use hash code. See, that object hash code is one, this is the name. Okay, this is how we can create myself. Okay, now I'm going to use field injection. How can we achieve using field injection? See, I am going to remove all this. In here, I am going into use auto word annotation, and also I use another annotation called @service. So without service, I already told that if you use service annotation, it will create. See, if you use service annotation, it will create an object in Spring container. And using auto wired in controller, in controller, if you use auto wired, it will search the my service class object. If it is present in Spring container, it will connect and injecting in controller class. So in this way, we are going to achieve field injection. So I'm going to run this application now. It's already running. I'm going to hit C. Now it is still running application. In this way, I'm going to create an object of my service. Okay, this is how we going to achieve injection, field injection. Okay, now I'm going to explain setter injection. In setter injection, we have to provide a method called setter. Okay, public void set service. In here, I have to pass my the service class, my service. Okay, using this keyword, is gives a current object, right? This dot my service class is equal to my service. This is how we going to achieve the setter injection. This annotation must be in here. Simple. See, the application still running without any error. I'm going to hit a API. See, now and hash code is changed. Okay, this is how we are going to achieve setter injection. Now field injection I already said, explained. Setter injection I explained now, and now I'm going to explain constructor injection. So many developers use constructor injection, so it is far better to compare other two ways. Okay, to explain constructor injection, we have to create a constructor of the controller class. How to create? Control Shift S. Okay, is not the way. Just left click and go to source. In source, go to constructor, generate constructor using fields, my service, and generate. We can write yourself. If you miss some name, so it will cause a error. So that's why I use using constructor of the controller class. I am passing the service class object, my service. When the application is running, before coming to the controller class, the object is created, right? We use controller, REST controller. So before entering to the controller class, the object is created. So we using constructor. So when the object is created, that time it will going to assign the service class object. Okay, I will remove that super. I don't need it anymore. You gonna say that why you are not using auto wired here? We don't have to use auto wired for the constructor injection. So by the object creation, it will assign it, right? So we don't have to explicitly say auto wired. Okay, that I'm going to run this application now. It's still running without any error. I'm going here. I'm going to hit an API. See, without using auto wired, we are going to achieve an object creation of service class. See, the hash code of the object my service is 35 some hash code number. So this is how we are going to create an object of service of a different ways. See, I already explained 4 ways, right? Using new keyword, constructor injection, setter injection, field injections. Now, is anything else I want to explain to you guys? Let me check. Okay, I use constructors, all those things, and explain all the annotations. Okay, these are the class is created by yourself. Okay, if you want to create an bean an or object of the already defined class, like how can I go with this? Okay, I want to add a dependency of JSON, so I want to add. How can I add? Okay, I will explain you by yourself. You can do it. It is for homework for you guys. Okay. Um, I'm going to create a class new in controller. In it is a standard way of IT. I'm going to create a package dot utility utility package. In utility package, I'm going to create a new class app app config. Okay, there is a okay. I create a class called app config. In here, it is a already defined class called JSON class. I want to get a bean of JSON. How can I get it? So there is a annotation called @configuration annotation. You have to use @configuration annotation to get a bean of the JSON. It's already defined in a other developers. Okay, okay. To get, you have to write a method. It returns that object. So I want a JSON object. So I want to write a method that return that object. Okay, public JSON. It's a return type of JSON, and get JSON. It is a method name. Return new JSON. So you have to write a method that return that object. I want a object of a JSON. It returning that object, and using new keyword and create a new object of JSON. And this is not enough to create a bean of JSON. You have to use another annotation called @bean. So in this way, using two annotation, configuration and bean annotation, you can get a already defined class object. So if it's showing an error because I'm not added the dependency of JSON. Okay, if you add that dependency of JSON, you can get an object of JSON. So using JSON, why use, you can get asked question why you use JSON specifically. So I'm going to tell, I can using JSON object, I can transfer the object in JSON object to string. I can map, so I can do so many things is already defined. Okay, so that's why I use JSON. So this is how it's already defined the class, how to create and bean of the already defined class. So using two @configuration and bean, we can get and create a bean of. Okay, and is there anything else I want to explain to you guys in service? I hope I already explained all those basic annotations, and using this container at the rate, all those things I explained. Okay guys, this is all I want to tell you in this video. Thank you for watching this video. Bye.